I want you to imagine, just for a second, a version of yourself that has literally never tasted food.
Yeah?
Like a version that has never felt the sun on its skin. It has never actually been afraid of dying because, well, it doesn't even have a physical body to lose.
Right?
It has never encountered the actual physical texture of another human being at close range. And yet somehow, this completely isolated, untouching, unfeeling version of you it's the one that is currently running your life.
Yeah, it's wild to think about.
It really is. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are looking at a truly fascinating paradigm-shifting framework regarding something called the inner me.
Yes, the inner me.
And our mission here today is to understand this mental avatar, like what exactly it is, the mechanics of how it secretly governs pretty much all of your reactions, and most importantly, how you can stop mistaking this avatar for your true, actual breathing self.
It really is a profound concept to wrap your head around. To start, we kind of have to look at the metaphor itself, which is, well, it's incredibly precise. So if you or the listener have ever played a Nintendo console, you're probably familiar with a Mii,
Oh, yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It's that little customizable digital avatar you create to represent yourself inside the games.
Right, you give it like a round head, you adjust the sliders for the eyes to make them wider or closer together.
Exactly.
You pick a hairstyle that feels vaguely like yours, but you know it's not actually you, it's a total reduction. It's just this cartoon proxy.
It represents you without actually being you. It always lags behind what you really are,
Yeah.
and I mean, obviously, it lacks your depth.
Right.
Yet,
Yeah.
within the system of the game, it is treated as you. Like
Yeah.
your wins in a tennis match, your losses in a race, they are all attributed to this cartoon.
Yeah, the cartoon gets the trophy.
Exactly. And what we're exploring today is the idea that the human mind does the exact same thing, but internally.
Wow.
Yeah. Over time, your brain builds a condensed, feature-selected, slider-adjusted model of who you are, and then you carry it around and unconsciously treat it as the real thing.
That is so interesting.
It curates, it explains, it defends, and it narrates basically everything that happens to you.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second. Because if I have this avatar in my head running the show,
Uh-huh.
my immediate question is like, where did it come from?
Right.
Who built it? Because it's almost like booting up a complex RPG video game.
Yeah.
Only to realize that someone else already picked your starting stats in your character class before you even picked up the controller.
That is a perfect analogy.
Like how much of what we confidently call our personality is just this early inherited programming?
What's fascinating here is the underlying neurology of why this happens. I mean, the brain is, at its core, a predictive engine.
Okay.
It is locked inside a dark skull. And it basically needs to simulate reality, to predict threats, manage energy, and navigate a highly complex social world.
Right. It's flying blind without a model.
Exactly. And the most persistent, necessary model it has to build is a model of the self. So in your earliest formation, you weren't the one designing this avatar.
Who was?
The architects were your environment, the way your caregivers looked at you, the specific tone they used when you cried, what your older siblings praised you for,
Yeah.
even what your early teachers decided you were worth.
Right.
All of that became the raw construction material. You were handed a map of who you are before you even had the cognitive ability to survey the territory yourself.
So for you listening to this right now, just think about that. Your foundational sense of self, your inner me, is largely a collage of other people's early reactions to you.
It is. It really is. And as we move into adolescence, this process shifts gears dramatically.
How so?
Well, the inner me becomes a highly conscious, incredibly energy-intensive project. You see teenagers obsessing over their image, their social standing, how they fit in.
Oh yeah, middle school is rough.
Society often dismisses this as pure vanity, but neurologically speaking, it is a crucial developmental survival task. They are actively trying to establish a coherent, socially viable self-model.
That makes so much sense.
But this is also the exact danger zone. This is the point where the identification deepens so much that the map begins to be mistaken for the territory.
Right.
By adulthood, this inner me is a highly elaborated, intensely managed identity project that's operating mostly below your conscious awareness.
So we have this map, this curated avatar that we've confused for ourselves, and it's basically dictating our lives. But what happens when the map clashes with the actual physical territory of our lived experience?
That is the big question.
Because there is a massive distinction here between the inner me and the physical body, right?
It's probably the most crucial distinction we can make. The inner me lives entirely in the realm of concept and narrative.
Okay.
The physical body, however, does not have a me.
Yeah.
The body doesn't possess a self-image or a running monologue about what kind of person it is.
It's just existing.
Exactly. It operates entirely in the present tense. It simply breathes, it digests, it feels, and it responds. Somatic intelligence, like the raw data of what you actually feel in your tissues, an impulse, a contraction, a flush of heat that is completely outside the me's jurisdiction.
Wait, I'm struggling with this a bit. Let's apply this to a real scenario.
Sure.
Like, if my body is exhausted, practically begging for sleep, but I force myself to stay awake and finish a project for work, I've always called that discipline.
Right.
It's a good thing, right? Are you saying my work ethic is fake, or that this isn't actually me making a disciplined choice?
Well, it's not that the action of working is fake, but we really have to look at the mechanism driving it.
Okay.
Often what you're calling discipline in that moment is just the inner me intervening.
Right.
The me cannot tolerate raw data that falls outside of its established categories.
Because the body's just tired.
Exactly. Your body is experiencing an immediate neutral state, exhaustion.
Yeah.
But if your inner me has built its foundational architecture around the identity of being, say, a hustler or an indispensable worker,
Oh, I see where this is going.
then it views exhaustion as a structural threat. So the mind rushes in to intercept that bodily signal and translate it. It turns the raw data of "I need rest" into a moral judgment.
Like, if I rest, I am being lazy, and therefore my identity is failing.
Precisely. The me will always attempt to reorganize your experience before it lets your experience reorganize the me.
Wow. It reorganizes experience before it lets experience reorganize it. It literally hijacks the raw bodily data just to protect its own rendering.
Yeah. Think about how you might experience genuine attraction to someone.
Okay.
The body registers an immediate felt response, like a spike in heart rate, a sense of pull, but the inner me instantly jumps in and starts running diagnostics.
Like, is this logical? Does this person fit the aesthetic I usually go for?
What will my friends think? Does this align with the kind of person I've decided I am? That relentless translation process is the me's primary distortion. It is terrified of direct, unmediated experience because direct experience simply doesn't require a middleman.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because this desperate need to organize and protect its own self-image explains exactly why we act the way we do around other people.
Definitely.
The me doesn't exist in a vacuum, does it? It's fundamentally a social creature.
It is entirely a relational artifact. It was built in relationship, and it constantly requires the perceived gaze of others to remain stable.
And it needs that audience even when nobody else is around. Like, think about the last time you were in the shower angrily rehearsing an argument you were planning to have.
Oh, we all do that.
Or like explaining your life choices to an imaginary crowd in your head. We basically all have this tiny, exhausted PR manager living in our skulls, spinning a crisis narrative even in total isolation, just to keep the brand intact.
That PR manager analogy is brilliant. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this PR manager concept explains why other people have the power to disturb us so profoundly.
Right.
When someone misunderstands you, or when a colleague ignores an email you thought was important, you feel this visceral sting. And that hurt isn't about physical danger.
No, you're just sitting at your desk.
Your body is perfectly safe. What is happening is a structural threat to the model itself. The mirror isn't reflecting the me properly, and so the avatar begins to destabilize.
Right, because if the me relies on the external gaze to exist, and that gaze changes or goes away, the me starts to kind of glitch out.
And to prevent that glitch, the inner me has developed a highly sophisticated, three-tiered hierarchy of defense.
Oh, tell me about these tiers.
So, at the very foundational level are your core claims. These are almost always compensatory, stemming from childhood.
Like what?
For example, if you were made to feel inadequate early in life, your core claim might be, "I am supremely competent and useful." If that claim is threatened, it feels like existential death.
Wow. Okay, what's the next tier?
Above the core claims are your secondary features. These are your values, your political affiliations, your personality descriptors.
Things like, I am a loyal friend, or I am a creative thinker.
Exactly.
And then at the very top, the most visible layer.
Those are your surface presentations.
Right.
Your reputation, your aesthetic, the clothes you wear, and of course, your social media presence.
Let's talk about that for a second, because if you look at it through this framework, social media is basically just inner me surface presentations scaled up and monetized for the entire globe.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, the algorithms are literally designed to exploit the me's desperate need for a quantifiable mirror.
That is an excellent way to frame it. The algorithm gives the me exactly what it craves, measurable feedback on its existence. And when any of these three levels, core, secondary, or surface, are threatened, the me defends itself aggressively.
Goes on the attack.
Yeah. And this hierarchy also explains grief in a completely new light. That intense, suffocating grief you feel when a romantic relationship ends or you lose a defining job role.
Yeah, that gut-wrenching feeling.
Yes, you're grieving the person or the routine. But a massive component of that pain is the loss of the specific mirror that sustains your me's coherence. You are grieving the sudden, terrifying instability of your own avatar.
That is incredibly heavy to think about. The idea that my internal PR manager isn't just spinning my present social interactions, but is actively managing my entire sense of reality.
Which naturally brings us to the past.
Right, because the inner me isn't just a PR manager handling today's crises. It's also your lifelong autobiographer, isn't it?
It is the sole author of the version of your autobiography that you walk around carrying as objective truth.
Which is kind of scary.
It is.
Uh-huh.
We tend to think of autobiographical memory like a camera recording.
Mm.
Like our brain stores video files on a hard drive, and when we remember something, we just hit play.
Yeah, that's how it feels.
But neurologically, that isn't true at all. Memory is not playback. It is active reconstruction.
So, wait, what does this all mean for us? Are all of my most factual, honest memories of my own childhood basically just fan fiction written by my inner me to make itself look consistent?
Well, the term fan fiction might be a bit playful, but the mechanism you're describing is scientifically accurate.
You're kidding.
Every single time you access a memory, your brain pulls the raw data out of storage, reconstructs it, and then re-encodes it back into your brain, slightly altered to fit your current state of meaning-making.
So it changes every time we remember it.
Yes, this is called memory reconsolidation. And the inner me is the primary narrative agent deciding how that memory gets put back together.
That is wild.
It selects which events matter, ignores the ones that don't fit, and organizes the narrative arc to confirm its current features.
Which perfectly explains that bizarre phenomenon where two siblings can grow up in the exact same house, experience the exact same chaotic family vacation, and decades later have completely wildly different memories of what happened.
Yes, exactly.
They aren't lying to each other. They just had two completely different inner me's doing the narrating.
Precisely. Their self-models require different foundational stories to maintain their current coherence.
Right.
One sibling's me might need the story of we overcame adversity, while the other's needs the story of I was always overlooked.
Oh, wow.
Now, realizing that your memory is heavily curated by your avatar shouldn't be a reason for total despair or radical skepticism about your entire life.
Okay, good, because I was starting to panic a little.
Don't panic, but it is a powerful call for a practice known as epistemic humility.
Epistemic humility. I like the sound of that, but how do we actually practice it? Like, what does it mean in our day-to-day lives?
It basically means cultivating a gentle, persistent awareness that the narrative version of your life is always partial. It's always filtered.
Okay.
It is always serving the model's need for coherence. To practice it means you have to be willing to encounter data that your story hasn't found a way to absorb yet, and simply sit with the discomfort of that new data without immediately rushing to translate it.
Which raises a very important question for me.
What's that?
If this inner me is distorting our present and manufacturing our memories and causing us all this relational grief, shouldn't we just try to get rid of it?
That is a very common reaction.
Right. Like, if you're listening to this, your immediate impulse might be to wage war on the me, to dismantle the avatar entirely. Give me that ego death everyone talks about on spiritual retreats and wellness blogs.
Ah, yes.
Ego death.
Let me just smash the illusion and exist as a floating orb of pure awareness.
It's a tempting thought, but attempting to destroy the inner me is a massive and quite dangerous trap.
Wait, really?
Yeah. The conclusion that the avatar should be smashed is philosophically imprecise and practically disastrous.
Why, though? If it's the thing causing the distortion and all the suffering, why not tear it down?
Because the inner me serves a vital practical function, which is continuity.
Continuity.
Yes, it provides the cognitive glue that gives you the sense of being the same person across time and across different contexts.
Oh, I see.
Without a functional self model, you literally couldn't navigate relationships, you couldn't make long-term commitments, you couldn't hold a job.
Because there's no continuous self. Exactly. The I who makes a promise to a friend on Tuesday needs to still exist in some coherent form to follow through on that promise on Thursday.
That makes a lot of sense.
Clinical experiences of a truly fragmented or destabilized self-model are not experiences of spiritual freedom. They are experiences of profound terror and suffering. The me allows for social accountability.
Okay, let's look at it like this. It's like realizing you've been wearing a high-tech VR headset your entire life.
I love this, yes.
The goal isn't to take a hammer and smash the headset because you actually still need it to navigate the complex digital world you're living in.
Right.
You need to be able to interact with the system, pay your taxes, and show up for your family. The goal is simply knowing that you have the headset on
No.
and being able to peek underneath it to see the actual physical room you're standing in.
I think that captures it perfectly. The problem isn't that the me exists. The problem is exclusive identification.
Meaning what, exactly?
The unconscious, unexamined belief that the me is all that you are. It's the belief that an update or a scratch to the me is the same as your actual physical death.
Right.
What genuine traditions of inner development point toward is not the elimination of the self model, but disidentification from it.
So moving from being the me to simply having a me.
Exactly.
Mm.
And the most intimate suffering we experience as humans usually lives in the space between those two things. We call it the gap.
The gap between the VR headset's projection and the real room.
Yes. There is what the inner me says you are, and then there is what you actually find when you pay close, honest, embodied attention to your experience.
And I'm guessing they don't always align.
They frequently do not match. Like the me says, I am totally over my ex, I am highly evolved, but your nervous system spikes with intense, undeniable anxiety the moment that person walks into the coffee shop.
Oh, yeah. We've all been there.
Or the me says, I have healed from this childhood wound. But the actual tension in your shoulders and the shallowness of your breath says otherwise.
And we spend so much of our daily energy trying to hide that gap. We feel embarrassed that the messy reality of our physical body doesn't match the slick, curated PR narrative our me has prepared for the public.
But those gaps aren't shameful. They are simply evidence of a neurological reality. Direct experience moves faster than the model.
Okay, wow.
The me is always lagging behind reality because it takes time to process and translate. Pure sensation like the quality of breath taken fully, the sudden moment of contact with true beauty, the initial flash of grief. These move at a speed the inner me just cannot intercept.
So the me wants to categorize the sunset, but the body simply experiences the light.
Beautifully put, yes.
So how does knowing this change how we interact with other people? Like, if we can find that gap, if we can practice peeking under the VR headset, what actually happens to our relationships?
Well, it changes everything.
Because earlier we established that most of our relationships are really just two PR managers, two inner me's negotiating with each other across a table.
Right. And when you are genuinely less identified with your inner me, real relational intimacy finally becomes possible.
How so?
You can actually receive another person. Instead of just matching their facial expression or their words against your me's pre-approved categories, you let what they are communicating actually land in your body before your me rushes to translate it into something safe or defensive.
So you're not just waiting for your turn to speak.
Exactly. You become capable of being affected by someone else in real time. You could actually have your mind changed because the me wasn't fast enough to put up the shield and prevent genuine contact.
That is what it actually means to be present with someone, isn't it? Not just performing the act of attentiveness, but actually asking the PR manager to step out of the room for a minute so two human beings can truly connect.
It is the profound shift from unknowing identification to knowing relationship. The awareness that is currently perceiving your me is not the me itself.
Right.
And once you deeply realize that, your entire self-concept can be held much, much more lightly.
Okay, let me synthesize all of this for you listening, because this deep dive covers a massive amount of psychological ground.
He really does.
The ultimate so what here isn't to achieve some permanent floating state of enlightenment where you never have an ego again. Because, let's be honest, claiming you have transcended your ego is usually just the sign of a very highly curated, spiritual-looking inner me.
A very clever track.
Okay.
The mind sets for itself, yes.
The actual value of understanding all of this is to live a more permeable life. A life where the gap between your avatar and your direct physical experience becomes visible to you.
Yes, visibility is key.
You still have the avatar. You still use it to go to work, to make plans with friends, to function in a complex society, but you know it's an avatar.
Exactly.
And because you know it's an avatar, you don't have to defend it to the death every time someone disagrees with you. You create enough space, enough of a gap for real things, real beauty, and real people to actually reach your nervous system before the avatar swats them away or translates them into a neat little story.
You allow yourself to be touched by the world.
Yeah, I love that.
It truly is about letting the truth of your experience have the necessary room to actually land.
It is. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the inner me, I'm going to pass it over to our expert to leave you with one final thing to think about.
So next time you feel that sudden hot sting of being misunderstood, ignored, or criticized by someone, I want you to just pause for one single second. Notice the heat in your body and ask yourself, is my actual physical self being injured right now? Or is my inner me just throwing a tantrum because its avatar got a scratch? And what would happen if just for a moment you let the avatar stay scratched?